Welcome to the Upper Deck for Pinstripe Chronicles. I'm Chris, that's Lynn, and we are here to enjoy your conversation about villains and Volpe.
Cue the music.
Why do I go through this every week where I try to cue the music and I... And the answer to that question is that I'm just playing at being a podcaster. In my real life, I don't know anything about technology. That being said, good morning, Lynn.
Good morning, Chris.
How are we?
Good morning for start of a good day. Other than allergies trying to take me down for good, doing good. So, hey, FJ, first one here, you get the prize. Woo!
Woo!
So it's been an interesting baseball week, and we got a lot to talk about just from this series. We're wrapping up today alone. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing great. I just want to find out how the fans say what our temperature is on how the Yankees are doing at this point. I think it's looking pretty middle of the road. Some days good, some days not so good. I'm concerned a little about the offense. Does that concern you at all?
Yes, the offense is of concern because especially if you just sample size this week, it's like flow and then sputter, flow and then sputter. And so we're not necessarily seeing consistency in the way that it's throughout the game or even in critical points of the game always.
Yep.
And case in point, I'll refer to the game that I actually got to go to on Thursday, which was the wrap-up rubber game for the Angels, with the Angels. First inning, was the most exciting inning of all. Right off the top of the game, they scored 5 runs in the first inning. And, everyone in the stadium was like, wow, what are we in for? Well, you're in for crickets. Because that was it for innings and innings and innings and innings. And then you flash forward to last night's game. And is it last night or I'm sorry, yesterday afternoon? Felt like last night because I'm tired. But it was a pitcher's duel, and with literally no action of any consequence until the bottom of the 8th, and we'll get to that. So I think sometimes we talk about consistency just in terms of production of a player and being inconsistent, but it also has to do with the frequency and continuity and flow of hits getting people on base. And FJ is saying we had a weak lineup out there yesterday. Manoah throwing pitches down the middle, and they couldn't touch him. And that's an unfortunate fact.
Yes.
Manoah was throwing an ace game yesterday, and we had to be reminded that he's been a Cy Young finalist 3 times for a reason.
Yeah.
So yeah, he did pitch a stellar game that held everyone at bay.
I found an interesting tweet from NYY Recaps. They said the Yankees are in this weird paradox where they have one of the top 3 players in baseball, a top bullpen in baseball, one of the top starting pitchers in baseball, and a bunch of other bargain bin guys. Can we surround Judge and Cole with some talent, please?
Okay, so that's fact and unfact to me, because on paper we do have that.
Yeah.
On paper, pending health, we have that. We have Cole. First of all, we have Nestor with Cole, and maybe that's about it. We'll see. We'll see. But we're gonna get Sevi back. We're gonna get we're getting Rodon back. So when all things are equal again, he will be surrounded. And Judge, I think Judge does have a squad behind him, a far better squad than last season in my mind, in
I
terms
agree.
in terms of offense capacity and actually baseball IQ and physicality. And case in point would be Volpe for such a young kid, first time up in the majors, first month up, what we're seeing in him. So I think that the squad is there. I just think that there are missing pieces for the pitching. I just named them, at least for starters, and for the lineup. So we're missing Stanton right now, and I hope he's not listening, because I know he does listen every Sunday usually.
Yeah.
I hope he's not listening. He knows he's my boyfriend, but he's not. He's not the consistent guy, the clutch guy per se. He's the power guy, and you're glad when you see it. So, and I'm actually seeing people say, and I think it was even Michael K, that when Donaldson gets back, that'll be better too, because we'll have his bat. No, I think you got that in reverse.
I'm
He's
not so sure about that.
huh?
I'm not so sure about that either. It's like, who wants to see Donaldson? I don't.
Other than anyone related to him, I don't know of anyone.
Yeah, exactly. And
And
Judge has played in every single game except one. And maybe, the one thing that drives me crazier than anything about Boone is his rest policies. But you have to say something. Judge does seem to be in a mini funk. I hesitate to use the S word. Perhaps that maybe a day would benefit him. What do you think?
Well, so we'd kind of be talking out of both sides of our mouth, because we get aggravated with
We do that.
that policy, right, all the time. But I think there is merit to it, and perhaps when Stanton is back, we'll see Judge get an off day. But the other thing is, Judge is also a utility guy at the moment as well, and so he's double the need at the moment, especially since, to kind of FJ's point that I put up there, especially since who we brought in for outfield coverage aren't panning out. Calhoun has been like a big sizzle fizz.
Yep.
And Cordero, it's too soon, I think, to call him a flash in the pan, but the fire went like on extra low this past week. So, and Judge has been spectacular in center field,
Right.
too, as well as obviously right. So, and Hicks is keeping the bench warm, and that's appropriate.
That's
In fact, there's a rumor going around, since we love our Bronx Buzz, that there's some DFA talks going on finally, about Hicks. So I don't even know what a reliable source would be for that anymore, but it might have something to do with why he's sitting so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I worry about Judge, possibly them approaching him about taking a day off and him saying no because of who he is and the situation he knows the team is in.
Right.
I could definitely see him, using his captain badge to say no on that.
Oh yeah. And I don't, it's not like I'm saying it's time to pull any alarm bells. Just noticing that, over the last probably 7 games, Judge has had a little bit more difficulty. I'm sure his on base streak ended during this last, because remember he had that
Yes.
going.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
at some point that must have ended. Glaber, he's also slumping.
Right. And he gets 3 naps a day as far as I know, as it is. So no, he doesn't need a rest. He needs something else. And
Right.
although I will say that he talked about it in an interview with Meredith this week, that he knows that he has to make adjustments on the adjustments he had made in spring training, and
Yeah.
get a better attack. And we saw a little sample size of that yesterday,
Yeah.
with the hit he put in. And they were remarking on the cast about, okay, so this time he did bring his foot forward and follow through. So I just then get concerned that he's overthinking it at the plate. But it's a better Glaber than we've been seeing
Yeah.
overall. So what I'm wondering about is Peraza, and I know that it's early, and I know that it's early not just in the season, but in terms of when they brought him up. He's another one that I guess I had unrealistic expectations in terms of what he would bring to the plate. And so, I'm going to stick by the reasoning I usually have of, well, once he plays more steadily in the field, we'll see an improvement at the plate. And he did get on base yesterday, but I guess I just had unrealistic expectations. I thought by now there would have been, some sort of clutch hit from him. So
Yeah.
the clock is a little ticking on my end about him. I'm not saying he needs to go back down whatsoever. He came up far sooner than we predicted, and certainly didn't predict him coming up after Volpe. But I thought that he would come and make his mark sooner.
Yeah. Well, I kind of think of it as, especially in this series, Volpe versus the villains, because we've got Volpe out there and the youth movement for the Yankees, and we've been going at it with Vladimir Guerrero Jr. During this Blue Jays series. He's running his mouth. Unfortunately, he also hits the ball.
Yeah, and there was a lot of Twitter buzz around him, as there always is when we play them. He's not exactly his father's son, and that's a shame. The pitching aspect, I mean the hitting aspect, is all his dad, and that's why he's the threat that he is. But the character and the professionalism that his dad had and was respected for, is that gene did not get passed on.
No.
So there's a broken chromosome there somewhere about that. And hey, Spence, good to see you. So, and I think he thrives on it. I think he thrives on the villainous role, because
Yeah.
you must think it makes him, badassier than anybody.
Yeah.
Really, it's a word. Look it up. Badassier. And so, yeah, you did meet me at Yankee Stadium, Spencer. Absolutely, and my eyes are just as swollen, and the allergies are just as bad. And Uncle Tats is here. They're rolling in.
All right, we're starting to get some action.
Yeah. So
So
yeah,
Vladdy's a baddie.
he Say that again, Chris.
I said Vladdy's a baddie.
He is a baddie, and he drives us batty. But
Yes.
the thing is, what I loved is the fact that he's really been bringing nothing to the series of consequence.
Right.
So, but yeah, and so it's interesting. And Chris and I were talking about this before we came on. And I'm going to toss this on now before I lose it in the chat, because this is something this is something we should talk about next. So I'm going to just park it here. So to me, the Blue Jays for a while now have replaced the Red Sox in the team to hate category, because it seems that ever since the days of Big Poppy and Martinez have gone away. There's always somebody to snark about on the Red Sox, but right now, in terms of snark and villainous, it's really the Jays to me.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just not a class act in terms of professionalism. Case in point, I'm going to throw a little Manoa snark. Is that okay with everybody? Just for funsies? So I don't know if anyone else noticed this, but Manoa coincidentally timed his walk from the bullpen to the dugout with Cole's first pitch. Coincidence? I think not. It's on video. I saw it on a video clip, and just as he was reaching they were walking down the foul line with the other starting pitchers, and just as they reached the mound, he took a look over at Cole, and Cole had to take a knee and wait for them to pass before he could stand back up and deliver the pitch. I mean, come on. You're going to tell me that wasn't like on purpose? And
the games people play.
Yeah,
the games we play.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, how'd that work out for you? Yeah, so you went, 1 2/3 more than Cole did. Congrats, but you lost. So, and I'm going to give you one other piece of Manoa snark. I forget, I think it might have been Yankees Magazine I was watching yesterday, and there was a clip of him on some random cooking show. And so the host asked him, who's the biggest cheater in baseball history? And so he looked at him like, I don't think I'm going to answer that. I probably shouldn't answer that. Nah, I'm going to leave that one alone. Okay, I'm going to say it. Garrett Cole. Garrett Cole, and so they asked him, why Garrett Cole? Well, because he used the sticky stuff. Oh, and it was Jack Curry. It was the pregame show, actually. And Curry's like, okay, so in all of baseball history, Garrett Cole is the biggest cheater. The steroid era, the gambling things, and that's the biggest cheater in baseball. So whatever this real beef is between the two of them, Cole has taken the high road as far as I've been able to see, but this guy, villain. So do we
want to address the Mad Bum situation?
Yes, I do.
Well, do we want to take a flyer on Mad Bum? I mean, is there any doubt that Cashman will? Doesn't he always manage to find a reclamation project that we don't need and that doesn't work and bring him in? What do you guys think? I'm sure it'll happen.
But who's going to pay that contract that they're inheriting? And it's going to be another aging person on the team. We're going to continue to be the invalid hospital, or the assisted living care facility for these players that have nowhere else to go.
Right.
I mean, it boggles the mind, and because it's boggling my mind, you're right. It's probably going to happen. But you know what? Let's sign him to a 1-month contract in October if we need him. Why would we otherwise?
He had a fine career, Mad Bum. Is he a Hall of Famer, do you think? He had some wins with the Giants. I'm sure he's a World Series winning pitcher.
Yeah,
but I would still pass on him.
It's interesting. Court of public opinion on Twitter is a little bit split on it.
Okay.
And as well as on Facebook, and that scares me. Elliot agrees that we should pass on Madison. And FJ, you put the question up. I'd love to know. Here we go. Here's his answer. He'll only cost league minimum. Who would you rather be pitching today, Mad Bum or Schmidt?
Schmidt.
Honestly, I'd rather go with the devil I know than the devil what I know of I don't like.
Exactly.
But okay, so thank you for correcting me. I had read somewhere about the contract dollars that would come with him, but so that wouldn't be the issue. But today, I'd still go with Schmidt. I may very well want to edit this part of our cast out at around 3:00, but Uncle Tats is saying, okay, so see, here's where the split audience comes in.
Right.
Then why not take a chance? But remember, they DFA'd him for a reason. Exactly.
And I mean, Madison Bumgarner should just ride out on his horse gracefully. He had a great career with the Giants. It seems like they just sometimes these elite pitchers, and players, they just don't want to leave when it's time to go.
And so Tats is saying he's only entertaining it because he's a lefty. And I think that's fair, but we're sort of doing all righty with just righties for the most part. But Elliot is this is what it is about for me. Yeah. Do we need another, troublemaker in the clubhouse?
Right.
Does he have the makeup of a Yankee to him?
Right.
And just the word on the street has never been, elite and respected and, the name you first think of. So has he ever won the Cy Young? Excuse me, now I have the hiccups. Pardon me. Let me drink from my special mug.
That's a good question. I mean, I wish I had known. I should have done some research on him, but I never dreamed that anyone would seriously want to take a flyer on Mad Bum now. But whatever.
I am shocked at the fact that it was DFA'd, and I would like to know the reason why.
I would too,
which we'll never know. But
yeah.
So I understand the concern because right now we have holes all over the place in the pen, and we're waiting for 2 critical guys to come back for the starting rotation. And FJ saying he's never finished higher than 4th in the Cy Young voting. Okay, so do you think Tampa would take a flyer on the Bum?
Didn't Tampa take a flyer on Corey Kluber? Wasn't that where he went after he left the Yankees?
Yep.
Was that what happened? Maybe Tampa Bay catches lightning in a bottle.
Yeah.
It would not surprise me.
I guess for a league minimum, that doesn't, with that off the table, it's a possibility.
Right.
But again, I just feel like we're overloaded as it is with aging players. We're
Right.
finally getting some, fountain of youth stuff in our veins.
Yes.
And that's where we should be building and grabbing from other places.
I agree.
And so I just thought, Chris, should I put up the lineup for today?
Yeah, let's do that.
Talk about that, and then we got trivia to get to, of course.
Let's take a look at that. Yeah.
So, wrong thing. Present.
No luck?
Wait, hang on. Just give me. Oh, why is it not?
The show begins.
See, I'm just doing this because.
With a glitch.
Yep. All right. So it's not cooperating with me, and I don't know why.
All right. So what? Tell us what it is.
Let me just tell you guys real fast if you haven't seen it. So we have Volpe leading off. We have Judge second, Rizzo third. We have Torres and LeMahieu is at first. Cabrera in left field.
So Rizzo's getting the day off?
Who's getting the day off?
Rizzo?
No, Rizzo is a designated hitter. Sorry.
Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Should have mentioned that. LeMahieu at first. Cabrera left. Peraza third. Higashioka is catching. Kiner-Falefa in center field. And we do need to say something quick about IKF. And Schmidt, as we know, is on the hill. Now, IKF has been, this past week, has been a really good sample size of his center field skill. That's been a bit of a surprise. And I'm calling it a sample size because really that's all it is. But Spencer and I were there to witness his catch in center field on Thursday against the Angels. And it was Bernie Williams caliber, catch. So I just wanted to grab a moment to say something positive about the kid.
Yeah, God,
we're
yes.
Beating up on him all the time.
I've given up beating up on him. He's athletic. He's willing. He's talented in, his defensive abilities.
Yes, and what more could you ask for other than, give us the numbers we need so we can win? And that's really what we're asking for.
Exactly.
But, I'm just wondering what everyone else thinks. And Tats, you're joking, but I'm going to put this on the screen. Let's date stamp this because I'm not ruling it out.
Oh, I wouldn't rule out anything. No.
I actually like him there better than I liked him at short. And you know what? The batting production is a little bit better. It's not saying much, but it's been better.
Yeah.
So this will be pretty cool to revisit if it ever becomes a thing. But looks really comfortable and solid out there.
Yeah.
And IKF is earning the 8th spot, I guess, is Elliott's point there.
I don't know. But we should probably push on to the trivia question.
We can. So speaking of Elliott and speaking of trivia, it's time to talk about the trivia question of the week. And I figured it out. Here it comes.
Yay!
Yay! I wish I figured it out a minute ago. So Earlier this week, the New York Yankees won their series against the Angels, and Lynn and Spencer were there to see it. The arrival of the Angels timing coincides with streaming of a new documentary on Reggie Jackson, who signed with the Angels after earning the nickname Mr. October during his time with the Yankees. After his induction into the Hall of Fame, the Yankees retired number 44. If you watch the documentary, then you know that before wearing number 44, Reggie wore this number when he reported for spring training in 1977. What uniform number did Reggie Jackson originally wear with
All
the New
right.
York Yankees?
Wow. That's a great question.
Elliot always,
Elliot, you got it.
Yep.
You've got the question of the year there.
Yep. So
All right, well,
that about wraps up the show. We always end with that. So
we want to thank you for joining us for part of your Sunday. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment. Find us on Twitter and chat us up. And as always, Lynn, we're back next Sunday.
Yep. As always, you'll always have an open seat with Chris and me right here on the upper deck. Let's bounce off that rubber and take another series.
All right, go Yankees.